Hello, folks. Well, today is 23rd of January 2025. I had a few questions on my blog. People were asking me what are the expenses of living in Karachi these days. Uh, well, as you know, that inflation has gone up and things have become very expensive over the last 2 3 years. So today I wanted to make a short vlog just to give an idea to people how living in Karachi is right now. Well, the government says that the inflation figures have come down, and because of that, the interest rates also have come down quite sharply. But I'll just give you an explanation that this is not the truth. This is far away from the truth. The inflation was as high as 38%. Then it came down to something like 15%. Right now it is around 12%. So the government is claiming that it's going to come into single digits, and the interest rates, which were 21, 22%, have fallen very sharply to around 10 to 12% less tax. So is it really true that the inflation has come down? Well, no. Inflation has not come down. Only the pace at which the inflation was increasing has come down. So if you talk about the last 2 years, if you add up the inflation figures, 38% plus 15% plus 12%, so nearly roughly you can say that inflation has gone up by 50%, right? And now the inflation has come down to 12%, but the cost of living has not come down. The pace of increase of inflation has come down. So now with the falling interest rates, people are really feeling the brunt because they already have 50% total inflation, and now their profits are around 12%, 10% less tax. They really cannot cope up with the living expenses. Okay, now as per the questions on my blog, I will just try to pin down what my expenses are in January 2025. I am living in an apartment, self-owned apartment, which is in a relatively decent area, and because of that, the cost of living is slightly higher. A person in Karachi can thrive on 50,000, on 80,000, on lakh, 1.5 lakh. It all depends. It all depends upon where you're living, what is your lifestyle. So I don't want to, just try to claim that what my cost of living is the right cost of living. No, it's not. But I will try to share with you my figures, and I will tell you that genuinely what are my living expenses right now. The building maintenance which I am paying to the building for the facilities, common facilities like water, common area electricity, CCTV cameras, the intercom, the elevators, and there are lots of RO plant. So the building take care of all these expenses, and I have to pay 18,000 rupees per month just for maintenance, right? Then the next expense is internet connection or a landline connection, which roughly is 3,500 per month. And this does not include the cell phone internet. So you can assume that for two people, I'm telling you the expenses for just a couple, right? In Karachi, in quite a decent locality, right? So 18,000 maintenance, 3,500 telephone bill, add 2,500 for internet on the cell phone. Then you can add around 3,200 for the Karachi water and sewerage bills. The sui gas bill is around 1,500 to 2,000 right now with no gas. They hardly give gas for maybe half an hour, 1 hour in a day, and still the bills are around 1,500 to 2,000. You have to purchase LNG gas for gas cylinders. That roughly comes out to 2,000, 2,500. So total gas around 4,000 rupees per month. Then what is the electricity cost? Electricity cost in winters have come down drastically. Right now I'm paying something like 13,000 per month, but because of winter season, because I'm not using air conditioners right now. So this Karachi electric charges can go up to 50,000 or even above in summers. So roughly I can tell you the average cost per annum per month, but average over the year is around 30,000 rupees for electricity bills. The highs and lows, just average it out. Then my credit card spendings for the month, because I spend most of my spending on the credit card. For example, groceries, medicines, fuel, and eating out. Mostly, I charge my credit card, so it works out to something like 53,000 rupees average per month. Then we have got cash expenses, because we also spend money where credit card is not accepted, and we use our cash for expenses like going out for eating out where credit card is not accepted. Then you go out for groceries like eggs, bread, milk. Then you have to pay for the maid. So roughly, my cash expenses per month is around 1 lakh rupees, out of which my wife spends around uses 55,000 and I use 45,000. The responsibility of my wife is to pay the maid. Uh, then she pays for the drinking water, and she also pays for some sadka and all these type of charity things. And the rest basically she uses for her personal use. For example, her stitching her clothes, and maybe going out for lunches with her friends and all that. So my wife spends around 55,000 rupees and I spend around 45,000 rupees. And my spending is basically for nowadays I am using a motorcycle because it is very convenient and it is very cheap. So for my no, but I sometimes pay cash, sometimes I pay my by my credit card. But my fuel expenses have come down drastically. I can say that around maximum I must be spending 10,000 rupees on the fuel, which would have been 20,000 rupees if I was not using a bike. So in my cash expenses of 45,000, basically I use for so things like bread, eggs, milk, and some things like maintenance of little things, paying somebody, some worker or something. I think this much expenses is I think barely required in cash, and this is a very conservative figure. It can sometimes go up, it can come down, but average I think I can do with 1 lakh rupees cash expenses between myself and my wife. And then extra expenses are something like if you have any kind of illness, you visit a doctor, you buy some extra medicines, you get some blood tests done. So these are all extra. But for living a basic life and not taking into account spending on some appliances, you buy some appliances, or you go out for a holiday, your travel expenses, or in case there is any emergency and you have to be hospitalized or you go to an emergency center, I am not taking into consideration all this. So when I add up my monthly basic expenses, it is around 2 lakh and 25,000 per month average. And apart from that, there are certain annual expenses which have to be taken care of, which you can basically divide into per month. But I will tell you which are the expenses which I have to spend on annual basis. It is some maintenance of appliances. If you have air conditioners, then you have to do the gas filling and all that. Then other expenses are your property tax. Then there is your car tax. Uh, then you have to pay your chartered accountant for filing the returns. So these are the expenses which you incur mostly once or twice in a year, but they have to be divided in on monthly basis. So I have included sort of around 10 to 15,000 rupees in my monthly expenses, which is 2,25,000 rupees. I hope that this video was helpful to you, and those people who want to come to Karachi from outside and they are contemplating to move from outside. So this will give you a rough idea of your expenses in Karachi. These are my expenses. Expenses can be much lower than this or it can be much higher than this. But for a sort of middle class person like me, a retired person who does not have other expenses like education expenses for children, or living a very hi-fi life, going out to big restaurants, spending a lot on eating out. No, I live quite a frugal life, a very calculated life, and these are my expenses. That is why I said that expenses of living in Karachi can be quite lower and it can be quite higher. But for a person like me, a couple living in Karachi in a decent locality, in a self-owned apartment, and not paying rent or not paying any student fees, my expenses are around 2,25,000 per month. I hope you like the video. Please subscribe to my channel so that I can get some incentive. I can try to upload more videos and share about my life, and maybe it would be helpful to you. Thanks a lot, buddy. Thanks a lot.